If I were to tell most people that I was keeping African cichlids in a planted aquarium, I would be called crazy because most of the time it ends in disaster. So why is this time any different? Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the fish room. I'm Trent Wel-Don with Wel-Don Tanks, and today we are looking at a new fish I have in the fish room, and one I am very excited about. Both because of how they, well, a couple things. How they breed, their coloration, and the fact is, I can keep them with plants in the aquarium. So what we are looking at today is considered an African cichlid. But now when we say African cichlid, most people think of like the peacocks, the haps, maybe some mabunas. There's kind of that broad range of spectrum when we say African cichlid because there's so many different collection areas and actually different places. Like if you think about it, Lake Tanganyika is in Africa. Like that is kind of an African cichlid, quote unquote, right? But like, so typically things do end in absolute disaster if you put things like peacocks, haps, mabunas into a tank with plants, is because most of the time they're either going to get eaten or just completely ripped up and thrown around your aquarium. So a few baseline things though is when I'm talking about a planted aquarium, I am not talking about an aquarium that's, you know, ADA, like Amazon soil or a fluval stratum with a nice carpet across it, maybe a lot of, you know, stem plants, fast, some CO2 added to it, really high light, you know, nothing to that aquascaped extreme. So what I'm talking about a planted aquarium is mainly an aquarium with plants. So what I have in this tank is some easy to grow plants, require low light, they do not need CO2, you know, and it's more hardy choices. So it is technically a planted aquarium because I do have substrate and I do have plants in that substrate, but I made some smart choices in my opinion of when I actually selected these fish. So the fish we are talking about is the Egyptian mouth brooder. So these are the Victoria is it the multicolor Victoria? Yes, so it's the multicolor Victoria. So the Egyptian mouth brooder Victoria multicolor. Is that the one? All right, so I double checked. It is the multicolor Victoria. There's no way I'm going to be able to pronounce that first part of the scientific name, but I will put everything up in a tag on this page. So these are considered an African cichlid. They're just from the Victoria area, right? So I have them on a sand substrate because they do like to dig. I've already noticed some pits being dug in around the aquarium. The big male that I got has dug out behind the sponge filters. But there's some strategic things I did with these plants. So when I chose plants for these aquarium, I went with something I knew was going to grow fast, but would be able to handle maybe a little bit of roughness from the fish. So in the very back, I have some Vallisneria that I got from Guppy Guru. That's already taken a good root hold, and that's going to, I'm hoping it's going to kind of lay over the top of the aquarium. And then the substrate I'm using is this regular pool filtration sand. So it's nothing intense, it's nothing expensive. And I actually have grown a lot of plants in pool filtration sand before with no problem. So I do add a little bit of easy green to this aquarium, and I will use root tabs very sparingly, just because I know these fish do tend to dig. But I also have an Anubias glued down to a rock. I have a couple crypts in the aquarium right now as well in the substrate. One that's just growing back. I did a video on that very specifically. But then I have one of the moss bridges from Aquarium Co-Op. Now this moss bridge is probably like the best thing that I added to this aquarium. So I noticed with the Anubias glued down to the rock is that the fish were going in through the leaves, under the leaves, and then with this moss bridge, they've actually pitted underneath it. So what this moss bridge ultimately did was give me a good plant in the aquarium, and it also provided extra cover for these fish to really create their own territory, their own space. So when I ordered these fish in, I purchased them from Aquabid, and I originally bought one pair. Now the male is on fire in this aquarium. He is gorgeous. The female is not far behind him. But then from the same seller, I was able to purchase a couple juveniles as well to kind of hopefully get like a breeding colony started. Now these are a mouth brooding fish, which means once the male and the female mate, the female will actually carry the eggs in her mouth, tumbling them in her mouth until they hatch. And even then for some time she'll tumble the fry and I still have the egg sac attached to them, and tumble them in her mouth, and then she'll eventually release them. So when I ordered these fish in and I first unboxed them, I noticed that there was 2 fry in the bag with the female. So I figured out that she was holding a couple fry. So that's why I set up this breeder box initially. I did strip I did strip the fry from the female, and that's a video I can hopefully do in the future, is showing that, because that was my first time actually stripping fry from an African cichlid, but it was really unique. But like I say, overall this aquarium is doing really well. So it is on auto water change, it's filtered by sponge filters, and like, even though this is probably a decent bioload, like, everything is doing really well in this aquarium. So these fish, like the male is kind of shy, he's hiding in the back right now, but overall I'm really happy with how this turned out. So again, this is not the extreme aquascaped planted aquarium. This is things like moss. Oh, and I forgot to say too, right here in the front, I have the Pogostemon stellatus octopus, which I purchased from Aquarium Co-Op. So most of these plants did from Aquarium Co-Op. Like that Pogostemon stellatus octopus, that's a fast-growing plant. It is a stem plant, but it can withstand a beating from the fish because it grows so fast. And it came in huge. So I haven't even taken that out of the pot yet, and I've already gotten growth off of it. So that one's going to withstand. But what's nice though is that these plants are going to help pull out the nitrates from the aquarium, making this just an overall healthier environment for the fish, but it also adds that really nice color. So I think with the pop of color I get from the males, and then with the green, and I did paint the tank black, the fish just look great in this aquarium. So if you wanted something that's unique, not as commonly seen, and most people want that African cichlid tank, but they don't want the total aggression or how big they get. Look at the mouth brooder. Look at the Egyptian mouth brooder cichlid. Oh man, the male just came out. Man, that fish is on fire. Let me see if I can get up close for you, because like, this fish is on fire. We're gonna try here. Well, the male ran away, but say the fish is absolutely on fire. So again, if you're looking for something, just unique African cichlid, but not as aggressive. I mean, you're still gonna get some aggression in the tank, don't get me wrong. But this fish is also a fun one to breed because of the mouth brooding aspect. So I would highly recommend looking at the Egyptian mouth brooder. Mine's the multicolor Victoria, or the Victoria multicolor, however that one happens to be, whatever the correct order is of that, I don't really know. Well, I do know, I just don't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, guys, so I'm really excited to show this one. Really excited to show that you can actually keep African cichlids in a planted aquarium. And say the male's out again, and just the way that they come and like pose is super, super cool. So I hope this showed something cool. Hope this showed something unique. Leave me a comment down below. Have you played with the mouth brooding cichlid? What's your thoughts, even just on African cichlids? And I'm always curious to see if other people have done African cichlids in a planted aquarium, because I am having success with it. I was just very strategic about it. So guys, thank you so much for joining me on this one, and we'll talk to you guys in the next one.